Good morning, everybody, and welcome. It's the Police Federation on a webinar again, and it's me, Hayley Ailey. You might have seen ones that I've done previously. If not, my name, Hayley Ailey. Again, you're never going to forget that name once you hear it. It tends to stick in the memory. And I'm the Equality Lead for the Police Federation of England and Wales. I've got on the sofa with me today Steve, and I'm going to do a full introduction on him at the moment. It's lovely to have you, Steve.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
And we're going to talk more about that in a moment. But before we do, what I really want to talk to you first and foremost is what you can see above you, our Copped Enough campaign. Now, you've really stepped over the line, as it were, and you've joined us online to do this webinar. What I'd really like you to do is to join our virtual picket line on Copped Enough. What the police take home is criminal. It says what it is. One of our major campaigns, our primary campaign, is to try and improve paying conditions for you, our colleagues, or if you're not a police officer now, if you're retired, whoever you are, there is somebody in your life that is affected by the pay that police officers are getting at the moment. We want to improve that. One of the ways we want to do that is by getting as many people's signatures on our virtual picket line so that we can show government and show the Home Office how important it is that they compensate police officers and pay them the amount of money that we absolutely need to make sure we can protect you in your communities. So please, you can go on that QR code. You'll be able to see the link. If you can see the chat functionality of this, and I know sometimes it can be quite mixed whether you can see the chat functionality or not. If you can't, you can actually see, we're going to put it up at the start of the presentations and the event today, and we're also going to put it up at the end so you can see it again. Get your friends and family to fill it in. We're about on 50,000 at the moment. We want to double that. We want to show the Home Office how important this is to anybody involved in the police community. So please share it wide and let's see if we can get that figure up there so that we can really start putting it on the toes of the Home Office that police officers need better pay. So that's my first pledge for you. So there's one action straight away. So after you've done that, coming back to us, we're here today to talk about NARPO. Now, please don't go, NARPO? Well, that's just something you do at the end of your career, isn't it? And that's how you find out about if somebody unfortunately has passed away or any kind of mobility aids or support you might need in your latter years. Don't laugh, that's judgment on me, but I don't want you to leave this webinar and feel the same way, and you won't, trust me, because it's going to be really eye-opening. So without further ado, I just want to introduce you to Steve, who sat on the couch with me this morning. Steve, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, thanks, Ellie. Morning, my name's Steve Wilcock. I'm the Deputy CEO for NARPO. A little bit about myself. I did 33 years in the police service. Started from the dim and distant past in the 80s.
In the 80s? Oh dear, yes. Okay.
Yes, I do actually love that old. In between, I had a quick break. Like for 5 years, worked in the private sector. And then in 2023, I was ill. As a result of that illness, I then left the police. I've not retired. I've sort of just resigned, took a leap of faith, and ended up in NARPO. That's where I currently am. And
wow.
I'm enjoying it.
And you know what, Steve? Everyone who's ever involved in policing always wants to know what force you worked for. So you got to say.
Yeah, I actually started off in West Midlands in the 80s, and then I left, and then I rejoined my home force in GMP in 2000, and I left in 2023. So I've worked in two large metropolitan forces.
Wow, excellent. So do you know what? It's really important today that we highlight some of the topics that we're going to talk about in regards to NARPO, because I think it's really going to formulate people's thinking about what NARPO is about now, and it has changed massively. It has changed. So I've even had an insight already as some of the things that we're going to talk about, and I think you're really going to enjoy them if you're linked in with us today. Please remember what I said. If you can't see the chat functionality and you want to ask a question, you can put your hands up if that's applicable, and we'll try and come to the hand raises if we can. We've got an hour and a half, so we think we've got plenty of time to come through quite a few questions. But otherwise, you can, if you can't put anything in the chat bar, and I will put my glasses forward and try and read the questions off the chat bar. But if you can't see that, you can email events@polfed.org. So hopefully you're seeing that on screen now, or you can scan that QR code. So if you struggle to get through, put your hands up. If you haven't got the chat bar, you can't ask a question that way, please email at events@polfed.org. If we don't get to you, then we absolutely will get back in touch. We will be sending any links that are needed through to NARPO of anything bespoke following this webinar, but we absolutely will come back to you if you've got any other queries. So it's always worth taking a note of that anyway. And of course, as you know, these events are recorded, and we will be sharing this recording. It usually comes out in the next couple of days, so it will be there publicly for you to access if you have to leave, or if you haven't been able to make it today and you want to access the recording or share it. So it will be out there for you today. I think that's all my admin done. I hope you've got a cuppa. I've certainly got my cushion, as you know. I like my comfy cushion. We've talked about Copped Enough. We've introduced Steve. So without further ado, we're going to talk about the detail, Steve. So do you know what? Before we go on, I think the first thing I want to delve into is how you came to be the person that come to speak to me and say, you need to reform your thinking about what NARPO can offer. So how did you get that?
It's a bit of a longer story. Obviously, I was in the police, enjoyed it, totally planned serving out total time. Got another couple of years till I got my pension. In 2023, I woke up feeling really ill one morning. It was either I either put up and shut up or woke the missus. I woke the missus and incurred the wrath. And as a result of that, she took to hospital, and I found out unexpectedly I'd got a perforated colon.
Okay.
As a result of that, I then got sepsis. I spent 3 weeks in hospital. I nearly slipped away and thought, you know what? After 33 years, I ain't going back to policing. Obviously, I'm an older dad. I've got 3 kids, 2 of which live at home. Took a leap of faith, put 30 days notice in, and I left the cops. At that stage, I had a mortgage, got the kids. I've not had an interview in the private sector for years, and I just sort of took the leap of faith and decided where to go.
And that really is a leap.
It is. It was uncharted. I think you may have had the conversation as cops historically. You probably don't realise what skills you've built up over 30 odd years or at whatever point in your career.
Yeah.
You don't realise that you are employable, and I think you just sort of leave the cops. You lose that PNN address, you lose that contact, and you enter the void that is the new world. And I think for me that was a big shock. And I think, to be fair, having then got the job at NARPO, that's where I bring my experience as someone who's not retired, as someone who's not got the backing of a pension. How can we as an organisation support people leaving? And that's where my passion comes from for what we do. And
your passion comes through in leaps and bounds. And I think what was interesting for me is when we first spoke about this, it's, yes, you took a real leap. I mean, you literally, because of your illness, because you thought, you know, there's got to be more to life now. I need to think about wider what I want to do out there in the world. But what's happening a lot in policing now is people aren't getting to that 30-year stage. People are leaving mid-career, probably 5, 10, 15 years in. And at any point when we're normally seeing the longevity of a 30-plus year career, people aren't getting to that point anymore. And I think that's one of the big cruxes for you, isn't it? It's like, what are we doing to help people along the way? And we'll come into a lot of detail on that in a minute, and we've certainly got a video to show you all too. But do you know what was the first thing that, even since we had our first chat, conversations I've had with everybody since that time, who knew you can join NARPO as a serving cop? I didn't know. Anyone I speak to didn't know that you can join NARPO as a serving cop within your normal tenure of work. Everyone just assumes it's for retirement. It's for after you've moved on. Your next question might be, well, why would I? Because I come back to my original assumptions of, other than needing some mobility aids or finding out what's going on in the sports and social world, why would I? And that was a real eye-opener for me. And that's what we're going to talk about, because there is so much resource out there to support people, isn't there?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think there's 2 travesties for me from since I started with it. One, after 30 odd years across 2 large forces, I'd never heard of NARPO.
Yeah.
And until the point I got a recruiter saying, well, there's a job going here, I would never have known the organisation existed. And secondly, I think, like you said, people assume it's for retired officers. They don't realise what we do. If I'm being honest, we probably didn't realise until we started looking at ourselves that we could do a lot more for a lot more serving officers as they leave it. And I think for me, it's getting that message that we're not just a retired organisation. Yes, we've got 93,000 members. We're very conscious we keep support for those. We give them what they want. But my personal thing is I want to reach the people that are leaving.
Yeah.
To give them the choice of whether what we offer is useful to them.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that is the message for today. As you said, it's an evolving organisation. And it's great we get the opportunity to try and reach people who potentially we can help.
Yeah. And I think that's such an understated position that we find ourselves in at the moment. There is that much need. There really is. And we, as PFEW, we've promoted NPCC and Oscar Kilo because they do offer some resources to support people in understanding what their worth is if they've made that decision that they're going to leave. But do you know what? There's never enough. There's absolutely never enough. And some people don't trust, for varied reasons, they don't trust having to go to a policing organisation to get that help and support. You've got that level of independence as well there, that realistically you're looking at an individual and you can help that individual, whatever the circumstance. So whether they're leaving because of misconduct or whether they're leaving because of an early life retirement, or they're just, they've just had enough, can be physically and mentally broken. They just had enough of policing. It seems like such a big leap, doesn't it?
It is. And I think the beauty for us, it's a very much dip into what you want. So obviously there's support there, which we'll come on to, I'm sure we'll come on to. But there's also one of the biggest things we found from a survey we did. It's the sense of community.
Yeah.
For people that are used to that structure, people that want to keep in touch with colleagues, does that offer, as well as the member services, the support, the products that we offer. I mean, obviously, I think, as you know, I'm also vice chair of Police Care UK.
Yeah.
And when you look at their current uptake, 1 in 4 people seeking treatments and therapies is former officers. So there's a massive demand. But my concern is that once people have left, they lose that corporacy, they lose that address, PNN address. You know what? They're falling through the cracks.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to get that message out to how we can dovetail in with the Federation, with other policing organisations, to make people aware that we're there and for that support.
And I think that really is a fall in a lot of instances, because you're absolutely right. We forget that once you've lost that email contact, how people then can carry on and be supported in their next steps is crucial, which leads us on to a video, I think. So I think the first slide we've got that's going to come up tells us a little bit more about NARPO, doesn't it?
Yes.
Is there anything more you want to add on that? Well, I mean, I know we've talked about it a little bit, but is there anything in regards to that? And just for everybody on the screen, don't feel that you've got to read all the content of these slides. Steve obviously likes a lot of content on the slide because you do them for the pre-retirement policies, don't you? But you're going to get all that. So, don't feel the need to have to read it all today. We're going to talk through it, aren't we?
Yeah, I think the big thing for me from this, there's 2 things. One, hopefully it's to, as you said, to show what NARPO actually is, what we actually do. But it's also to say we're big enough to accept, we might not have it right at the minute.
Yeah.
And again, any feedback that comes back from this morning, any feedback from your members who are potentially the people that will lead our services, we're keen to hear it. Because we're not saying we've got it there. We're happy to change, we're happy to evolve, but we need that interaction and we need to get the current feeling of people of what they want. Yeah. And I think that's the big giveaway.
And you know what? You came to me as the equality lead for PFEW because you categorically said, the Police Federation gets enough bad press, but you've said yourself, we feel like we're still the horrible adage, I hate the phrase, but the white, pale, male, stale organisation. And then you said, and it wasn't lost on you that you sat with me. I'm not going to say which one of those criteria you met, but you said, what are the thoughts? How can we develop that? Because you want to become more diverse. Yes. You want to represent policing and the communities that work within policing, and the diversity that is quite rightly within that should feel that NARPO is still there for them whenever they need it to, anybody within the organisation. So we did have some quite frank conversations about it, didn't we? in regards to the makeup of people in the local branches. Yeah, we had some really good discussions about that, and I certainly did feed back to you that we need to see that breadth of diversity in the organisation and people that are coming to work for you and coming to work in NARPO, and that will really help us along, won't it?
Well, yeah, I think that the thing for us as well, partly, is we represent currently a majority of retired officers. So at the minute, we're probably working 10, 20, 30 years behind the curve of former officers. As that moves forward, as demographics change, we're getting younger officers joining. I think our youngest member's 35. So as that moves forward, we're going to have a different demographic of members.
Yeah.
And it's keeping, I would love to see more representation through branches and more sort of obviously females and more sort of diversity within branches.
Yeah.
To drive us forward. And again, we appreciate it takes time, but that's not an answer not to start.
Yeah.
And we're keen to try and drive this and work with yourselves, work with members, and just try and move it forward.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Thanks, Steve. We've had a question from Neil that's come in about actually exploring the reasons why people are leaving in the first place. What I think we'll do, Neil, if it's okay with you, is we'll go through the presentation and go through the aspects. I think some of that will end up being teased out anyway, but then we'll revisit it at the end, if that's okay, so that we can make sure we've absolutely covered it, because you're absolutely right. There is such a varied reason as to why people are leaving in the first place, and we know it's quite prolific at the minute as to why people are leaving policing for lots of reasons, but some of the bits might come out in the presentation, so it's okay with you, Neil. We're going to park it for a minute, but we will come back to that. I'll try not to forget about that one, I promise. Next slide up then, I think, is the video, and this video I found really informative. This is why I wanted to include it this morning. It really does help open people's minds into what NARPO can offer and what it's there to deliver. So hopefully I've got everything crossed for you folks on the other side of this, that it's going to work and you'll be able to hear it. Let us know if there's any issues.
Leaving the policing comes in many forms, sometimes planned, sometimes sudden, but the need for support doesn't end when the shift does.
After 15 years I left policing, but I still had a mortgage to pay, so I went back as custody staff. Same corridors, same pressures, but it wasn't for me. I felt lost. It had been years since I'd written a CV or gone through any sort of interview process. It wasn't until I discovered NARPO that I realised just how valuable and in demand my skills were. The Second Careers Hub provided me with the tools and support I needed to build my confidence and begin a new career path.
I knew about NARPO before I'd even left the force. I'd visit former colleagues who always spoke about the local branch and shared the magazine with me. When I retired, joining was natural. The access to the pension advice was invaluable, and the member offers were an added bonus. I mean, who doesn't like a discount? But actually, I think the biggest thing for me was the sense of continuity. I actively became involved with organising branch events, even becoming secretary. It's not just paperwork, it's community.
I didn't plan on leaving the force when I was 39. An unfortunate incident took that away from me. I felt like I'd lost my identity until a friend mentioned NARPO, so I gave them a call. And they didn't just help, they understood. They helped me adjust, practically, emotionally, personally. Their welfare resources were a lifeline. NARPO helped me get in contact with the Retired Officers Wellbeing Programme at the Police Treatment Centre. I really appreciate that NARPO is a campaigning organisation as well. It's good to know that they give people like us an opportunity for our voices to be heard.
So we all got here differently.
For me, it was always the plan.
Some of us had no choice.
But we found our purpose again, and that's what matters.
And now we help the next group do the same.
second careers, pension guidance, well-being. NARPO isn't just about what comes after policing, it's about what comes next for you. NARPO, supporting life beyond the badge. Find us at www.narpo.org.
We're back. I hope you all got to see that without any kind of delay and lag. I think it worked perfectly okay for you. So I hope you'll agree with me that it's really interesting to see that what you're trying to talk about here, Steve, it's not just the 30 years. Yes, I know that was the journey of one of the officers in the video, but that's just, it's sad to say that that's a minority now. It's actually, as we keep referring to, it's officers that are having to leave for other reasons, whether it be for mental health or physical health and well-being, early life retirement, whether it just literally be because they can't cope with policing any longer and it's not the career for them, but also whether it's to do with misconduct issues or anything. There are varied reasons why people are leaving policing. And I think, to be honest, nobody thinks that the resources are there to support them before they make that decision, and actually to help them make that decision, because it seems like such a leap of faith, like you spoke of, when you find yourself exiting policing, which is quite institutionalised. We end up institutionalised with it. Doesn't matter how long you work in policing, it's sold as a family to you. Let's be clear, when you start and towards the tail end of whatever time of your lifetime is that you come out of it, sometimes it doesn't feel like that. Sometimes it feels like it's being done to you rather than it being an active choice of yours. So what kind of things do you do, or can you help officers with for preparing for the next chapter?
I think we tend to be quite holistic. As I say, as we move forward, I think we're now accepting that if we look historically, we've done things like member services, and I think that was probably one of our mistakes initially, because people saw it as a bit of a blue light card. Then you joined NARPO, you got the magazine. Until our marketing manager came along, the magazine was probably going back to the pale male stale mentality. If you want to stairlift or some lovely slippers, looking at NARPO magazine. I think as we move forward, the magazine is one of our main selling points. It then carries various articles. We have guest writers. It's got advice to people. That kind of, as well as for the newer leavers, is also what the older leavers have currently got like. One big thing that I found when I left was around career guidance. As I say, I'd done 30 odd years. Everything I put in for in the cops, I had a lot of changes. It was always competency-based interviews on an application form in the police. I hadn't got a CV. I didn't realise what my skills were. I didn't realise, well, do you know what? I think it's easy as a cop to think I've done, what can I do outside? And I don't think cops historically are very good at promoting themselves or actually appreciating they've got those skills. So one of the big things that we've done this year, we started the Careers Hub as a member service. We've made some investment with Reed Recruiting, obviously through discussions with various organisations. There's advice on the website, there's CV templates, there's interchangeable skills advice, there's facilities there for covering letters. Lots of good information as to how you can evaluate what your skills are and how you can market those. We've also got an offer with a company called Transitions, who will actually do online coaching at a reduced rate for NARPO members to just give people that confidence and actually get them into that mindset looking for new careers. I appreciate that everybody wants a new career. Some people are leaving through the retirement route or through ill health, may want to take a slow pace of life. There's advice there around well-being. We've got a well-being structure to all the branches. We have times to all the major police charities, signposting, as well as in the magazine, nutrition advice, activities, bits and pieces, as well as the standard member services, car deals, various bits and pieces. So it's very much, as we evolve, a bit of something for everybody. Because again, we're very conscious. You may get somebody with 5 years that's leaving through trauma. You may get somebody who's done 35 years who's retiring, and they're very, very different people.
And what can happen as well is, although all these different offers might have been there for them while they were serving, if they don't capture it at that point, it drops away really quickly.
Yes.
So, you might have been supported by your force for some counselling. You might have been supported for a welfare officer, or you might have been supported through a Fed rep. But realistically, what we want to support is working closely with you so that because we do tend to still support in some areas beyond leaving the organisation, but people really end up with nothing. It feels like a cliff edge. And you're absolutely right. It's not just about one route. It's about any route, what your next step's going to take, isn't it?
Yes.
Which is why it really resonated with me when you talked about all the different things that you can offer people, and that people can join while they're still serving, so they can access those things, even if they're still in the stages of just considering what next steps are going to be. And to help that transition, I think that is vital.
I think that's it. I think our big thing is we're not telling people what you should do. People have been grown up to be made their own choice, but I think we all know people make that choice to leave for whatever reason. And I think once they've made that choice, well, do you know what? Once you've left, that's a little bit too late, and the sort of horse has bolted.
Yeah.
And I think for us, it's like we've mentioned in the bits and pieces. I find from experience, and personal experience, cops fall into two categories.
Mm-hmm.
They're either really switched on, they know to the penny one investments they've got all the finances nailed, or some of them like me are absolutely hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what? When you've actually left and you lose that support, that's where I think the benefit is. And I think I see very much, and as an organisation, we're really excited to work with the Fed, because most of our organisation have been in the cops. We appreciate that working period. We appreciate the support the Fed give. Well, do you know what? We are the follow-on from that. We're probably the grandparents after you sort of leave. And I think, as Sophie, our marketing manager, says, I can't pinch this one up. I do like it. Jumping out of the plane is the retirement, or the leaving, or the transitioning, with a parachute before you hit the ground.
Yeah.
And I think that probably sums it up really nicely.
Yeah.
But I think for us, it's just giving that informed information, giving people the options, just waking people up to leaving and thinking, well, what should you consider? And if you need help, well, do you know what? We can offer that. And then people have the choice.
And, and I don't want to detract from this webinar today, but it talks to Neil's point in regards to his question he asked. We have a lot of officers at the moment that are under an awful lot of pressure with adjusted duties, coming to work with disabilities, and pressure that they're facing from forces restructuring, and even offering routes to leave policing. Shall we say. But we are doing a webinar on that on Thursday. If you haven't got your name down for that one, I think it might be full, but you can have the recording on adjusted duties. But that is, again, it's a huge decision that officers are feeling that they're, to a certain degree, having to make rather than it being a choice. And that step absolutely feels, well, where's my help and support? Because, they can absolutely bring worth to policing. We're not saying some of these officers can still and want to still work when they leave, whether it be a policing role or wider. But where's that help that can still value that and show them what they can actually do and what they can expect to be able to go on and have a successful career in another world? And, full disclosure, folks, my husband got his job, he's retired, he got his job on the back of a NARPO magazine, some fantastic job adverts in there, let me just say, and that's exactly how that happened. But it was only by chance that we dropped onto that, and even I wish we'd have known back then that he could have joined you before retiring, so that he could have actually started to work with you to utilise these resources to be able to plan his exit a little bit better and feel a little bit more confident about what next steps looks like.
But I think that's it. For me, it's giving people that knowledge and that little bit of information so that they feel valued.
Yeah.
They appreciate what they can do and what the skills are. And I think it's just giving people that best experience for when they do leave. I mean, obviously, it's like you mentioned there with adjusted duties, with disabilities. Mm-hmm. We work quite close with Disability Rights UK. Yeah. Each branch is aligned to those as well. We have annual or regular meetings with them. And again, we can put people in touch. We can get information around disabilities, what the rights are, what the benefits, entitlements are, and we can offer that support. Mm. But again, that support's only there if people know we can do it.
Yeah.
And it's trying to get that message out, and that's maybe the aim of today.
Yeah.
It's trying to just give people that knowledge and trying to just give them that empowerment as to how they manage that transition.
So typically me, anybody who knows me when I do these webinars, I've gone completely off your presentation. So I'm not sure where we are with your slides.
No, I understand.
But we'll bring the slides back up, folks, so we can get it online, because you know what I'm like. So I've gone off piece a little bit. It talks there a little bit about handling finances, looking after physical and mental health. Now, I think they're really key areas to help with this transition. And it probably talks to slides further on. So, Jen, if you can move forward to the next slide. I think, yeah, it talks a lot about what we've hit onto the next one, I think, realistically, I think. What kind of things in regards to health and wellbeing then? What we're looking at with that?
We're looking there, because obviously we all know, I mean, I suffer that as much every now and then. I get up in the morning, my aches and pains get a little bit worse from 30 years of banging knees on pavements and scrapping and all that business.
I don't think it takes 30 years these days, to be fair.
It just feels longer.
Yeah.
And I think we obviously, again, we have access to police treatment centres, we have access to various organisations and charities, we get regular inputs in the magazine. Moving forward, we've had a discussion with the team. I want to get more and more. I want to get people that work with us closer, get an increase the offer. And it's within the whole thing, which again is why it's nice to get any feedback, but what do people want? Yeah. Because I can second guess. Most people in our public in the cops, and we can second guess what people want. But it's good to get the modern cops and to the potential leavers, what do they want from it? Yeah, and that's a really good point. At the end of this presentation today, you'll see a comments email that can come out to you all. So if you've got any thoughts on that, I know you'd really appreciate the feedback on that. Yeah. So we'll be utilising any comments or questions or feedback that we can have. So, you know, if you've always thought that there should be something available to you when you're moving on to the next chapter or what NARPO could offer now, you're really keen to understand what that could be, aren't you? Yeah, I mean, again, we're quite open as an organisation. I mean, a couple of years ago, 18 months ago, we did a survey in-house. Yes. That was probably bigger than we thought it would be. We got 3,500 results back. Brilliant returns. And it was actually quite sad because, as expected, there wasn't one area that people had issues about leaving. It was across the board. And when you looked at a lot of the comments and the free text comments about, I'd done 20 years, I'd done 30 years. I left my uniform in a bag on a Friday afternoon and walked out of the building. And you think it's quite sad that people have that experience. So again, we're building on that survey, looking at, and it probably goes back to answering Neil's question in part. So we're looking at what people's experience of leaving was. Yeah. Currently, we're working with Bradford University. I got approached from a professor there that's doing a piece. Again, her partner's ex-cops, so she's got an interest in this. She's just doing a validated piece of work for us, funded by the university, which is going through. Again, that's going to be people's experiences, resulting in podcasts, resulting in lived experience. Yeah. To try and inform what we do. So we're quite excited moving forward that we're trying to make this an organisation for everybody who is leaving the cops. And you know what? People on this call might be thinking about leaving, but they might even think about joining your organisation and joining your ranks. And actually becoming somebody that can actually work to promote NARPO. Yeah. Is that an opportunity too? I would love that moving forward, because obviously we have a small HQ team, but 90% of what we do in NARPO is volunteer led. Yes. I said we've got 93,000 members, we've got 103 branches, and all those branches are run by volunteers. Yeah. Moving forward, obviously, as we get younger leavers, people leaving with 10, 15 years in mid-term, the more people get involved in branch activities to keep it running, the better. And you know what? And that's another reason why I say it, because I'm not even just talking about a paid job. I'm talking about that arm of volunteering, because, as you know, our officers can leave under early and health retirement. Yeah. It may not be appropriate or right for them to go out and get a full-time job or a part-time job, but they may need that contact. They may need that ability to be able to step into the next chapter of their lives and still feel that they can bring something to a community and actually still support people and offer the skills and the abilities they have. So volunteering is still just a vital way that people can keep their mental health because they've still got that contact and not feel so isolated, because they can work with different branches, can't they, and volunteer for you. I think it is, and I think the other thing as well is, as well as this, like, set for yourself and your mental health and getting involved, it's the fantastic support you can give to colleagues.
Yeah.
And those leaving. Again, we go to quite a lot of, the expos and the Leavers Expo.
Yeah.
And again, I can go, the team can go, but there's nothing actually like the local members turning out that have actually gone through it and had the lived experience of leaving under ill health, having left because of stresses and strains of the job. And they can bring to life what the branch does. So there are so many opportunities for people to give a little bit back and to support their colleagues. It's a fantastic ask.
And by the nature of the beast, as we've said, people aren't doing 30 years.
No.
So the age of people leaving an organisation with 5, 10, 15, however long now, is going to bring the workforce younger, and is going to bring you that diversity that you are craving into your organisation. But you want it as quickly as you can, don't you? You want to start seeing the diverse policing community coming in and giving you that support and that assistance.
We do. It's a different one, isn't it? Because sometimes I think I probably wish sometimes for too much too quick, and then you become the victim of your own success. But I agree, the quicker that we can diversify, the quicker that we can move forward, the quicker that we can provide what people need, that's the better for me.
Yeah.
Because, as I say, the reason I get up and do this in the morning is because of the experiences I had.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm on targets. I'm not target driven. It's not because I've got a bonus. It's it's the fact of, do you know what? I left after 30 odd years. I was ill. I didn't know where to turn.
Yeah.
I didn't know NARPO existed. And do you know what? What a fantastic organisation we can make it to support people.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's getting the buy-in and getting the support and people. And I think it's probably difficult because I think in the past, as I say, we've been seeing the Blue Light Card, we've been seeing as a member benefits organisation, we've been seeing potentially competition with them. We're not.
Yeah.
But we're a not-for-profit organisation to help people. And I think it's great now that we're getting an opportunity to work with yourselves and to try and put that message.
And for such a low, all money leaving our police officers' paychecks is hard to, justify because they haven't got a lot. But it's a low amount. I mean, how much are we talking here? Let's talk about here.
Well, people get confused with this because they think it's monthly. It's actually £27 a year, just over.
Crikey.
Which, if you break it down to base term, is 50. I think it's 58 pence a week.
Yeah.
Or £2.32 a month.
Yeah.
And again, there's two reasons for that. One, we want to make it achievable. We're not for profit. Anything we get goes back into the organisation.
Yeah.
And secondly, we want to make sure that people don't see it as an option against other things. If you see what I mean, like you said, for what it costs, it's like the police pension, I suppose. The ask is that the more people join today, they support the current membership.
Yeah.
But you know what? When they actually come to the point, the organisation sustain is there for them. So it's very much keep us ticking over so we can develop, we can give people what they want, hence the fact we ask what they want. But we're not in it to scam people, we're not in it to make masses. And
no.
As you can probably tell by my flustered stumbling, I'm not a salesman. I mean, I've got a passion to help cops when they leave the job. And that is why we keep it as it is.
Yeah. And that's really a good point to raise realistically, isn't it? Because that's what absolutely everybody has to think about these days in regards to finance.
It's cost, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But especially if you are thinking that your next steps is a step out of policing, then do you know what? Absolutely, this would be a resource to be considered, wouldn't it?
Well, I think to put it in context as well, because one of the member benefits is we have a time with Hotpoint and you get 40. I think you get 50% off. So if you say 50% off your fridge, you just pay for 10 years membership. Just saying. But,
there you go. There's an analogy. So coming back onto the presentation then, because I haven't seen any questions come in, feel free to put them in the chat bar. I haven't got any hands up yet. It goes on to finances. And again, this is a crucial area, as we've just been talking about. Not only an individual's finances, but the pension just blows your brain. Your own circumstances and management of your own financial circumstances can be really complex. And we are creatures of habit in policing. We think everything's okay and it just tumbles along, but then suddenly something changes and you're looking to leave that regularity. It is a very daunting thing to do, isn't it? So what kind of things do you assist with in that?
We have we can't give bespoke financial advice, we don't go down that route. We do things like, obviously, we'll give generic pensions advice around pensions, bits and pieces. We also have partners that we work with in relation to financial planning,
Yeah.
around state benefits, around taxation. One of the big companies we work with deal with around wills, probates and trusts.
Yeah.
Again, you find if people are paying off houses, they're then getting a situation of leaving money to children, etc. They get free, what's the word, assessment, free advice on that, no sort of time to that. Basically, it's the general things that you think if you're leaving, well, how could that impact me?
Yeah.
And again, all that's made available through specialist companies and organisations, just to switch people on and make them aware.
Yeah, and that is so important, isn't it? It's such an area of everybody's mental health and well-being is concerns about finance, as we know.
Yes.
And suddenly decision making, however you're leaving policing, whatever your circumstances are, how that can be supported. And I think you mentioned to me there's links into like citizens advice, all the other gov type activities that police officers probably have never thought that they were accessible to actually even apply for whilst they were police officers, but actually exiting policing, they might be entitled to different benefits, etc. But you said that there's certainly opportunities, isn't there, that they can actually link into finding out about that as well?
Yeah, we tend to work two ways. Obviously, we've got the website, which carries information for all members, and we've also got the branch structure. So each of the 103 branches has welfare representatives. So if people want to reach out through the branch, they can actually make a call, someone come out and chat to them, come and speak to them and signpost them. I appreciate that's not for everybody. Some people just want to leave the cops. They don't really want to socialise. They want to get the support that's there. Well, that's fine. We do that as well. On the website, there's an A to Z of welfare. So again, that'll go through things like physical health, mental health, financial help. We work very closely with Police Mutual, obviously one of our partners that provide a lot of support there for various bits and pieces around finance advice, around mental health and physical advice, Police Care UK, police treatment centres. So as well as the finance, there's also the physical side that goes with it, and that's all in the set of welfare that we keep updated. It's like documents and
Brilliant.
Informed members.
It is. That's absolutely brilliant. So going through the slides again then, Jen, if you could just keep on going. Staying connected. And it's as we said, and that talks a lot to the mental health, doesn't it? We can't go on anymore. We can't overstate the need of having somebody there for you.
Yeah.
You're closing the door to one arm of what is always sold to you as a community, although that's always debatable. You then are stepping into the next chapter, and if you're alone in that or feeling isolated in any way, there are resources out there.
Yeah.
But more importantly, there is a body of people that have been there and done it and can absolutely support you in the next step. And I think that's absolutely what your organisation brings.
I think it is. And again, if I go back to our survey we did, the Your Voice Matters survey, one of the strengths that came out in NARPO for a lot of people was that community.
Yeah.
I think, again, you look back to when I joined the cops, to when you joined the cops, and you joined with a large intake. You did your 30 years, and you left as an intake. I think that these days, like I said, people now are not leaving in the same groups.
No.
And I think a lot of people leave. They're not leaving with the group of people they've known. They lose that identity. They lose that sense of community. Well, do you know what? Well, that's what the branches do. There's activities. And I'm not saying it's for everybody.
Yeah.
But it's an option that's there for people. There's activities. A lot of branches obviously will run trips. They run events. They run lunch, whatever. And it's very much if that works for you, well, do you know what? There's something there for you.
Yeah. And I think that's really important, isn't it? It really is. And you're absolutely right, because in police stations, you don't even work often with the same continuous shift. You don't work with the same people anymore that you used to back in the day. I hate back in the day, but as policing has evolved, it's not like that anymore. There isn't a community now. It is, you turn up, you do your job, you work, you might work with different people, you might then move a department, you might get moved to another department, you might then get moved to another department, and then within all that time, sometimes you don't build those friendship groups. And then if you're exiting it for whatever reason, any friendships that you've made, unfortunately, traditionally can drop away. So I think that's a really important community feel that is really, should really be considered by everybody.
I think it's quite comfortable, because obviously I think that the reach of our organisation is probably increasing as well. It was actually quite nice. I got an email the other day, not giving details, but there was a member up in the North West Force he's just come out from mental health issues.
Mhm.
He's got no support network. He's seen as a vulnerable adult. And
Yeah.
I've got an email off the vulnerable adult team saying, look, can you support this guy? And you think, well, do you know
Wow.
what? He's got no family.
Yeah.
He's got nobody from, like you said, not just with colleagues. And you think, well, it's nice that we can step into that breach.
Yeah.
And it's nice now that they're getting recognised that that's the kind of service we can provide. So we're obviously going in the right direction.
Yes.
It's just keeping that push going.
Yeah, and I think you are. I mean, there's another body of people, as I mentioned briefly earlier, that leave policing because they absolutely fell out of love with policing.
Yes.
In some cases, we'll have officers that we've represented and supported have probably even had to take them on in employment tribunal proceedings. And that means they're absolutely divorced from the force.
Yes.
And have completely need to get the force in the rearview mirror for their own mental health and well-being. You give that opportunity that just because you need to get the force in the rearview mirror, don't need to get rid of that community feel that policing will with your friends and your colleagues.
Yes.
And that's the difference, isn't it? Because sometimes, not in all cases, but in some times, people need that. And I think that's really beneficial.
It is, and I think it's quite nice now because obviously, as I said, the reach was an increase. And I think what we do is getting more awareness. It's like last week I had a conversation with probably 6 chief officers from different forces.
Mm-hmm.
And again, now they're kind of seeing the benefit of where what we do for those leaving currently fits in. And I think now it's just that word's getting out, and it's just dovetailing that to the members as to how we can support when they've made that decision.
And we've been pushing that for so long now that it is the employer's responsibility to ensure that they support an individual and their staff and police officers transitioning through. Not, oh, well, there's your email, give us your warrant card, see ya. That's it. Who are you? We've deleted your name off the system. That's it. Job done. They should be absolutely supporting everybody through a transitional stage and beyond, absolutely exiting the organisation.
Yeah.
And that is starting to filter through, as you say.
Yeah.
We're not there consistently, and there is still a lot of challenges. But and in vain of that, it's really encouraging to see that chief officers are actually seeing that.
I think it'd be good to see more push on the covenant as well. Because we've recently been invited to sit on the covenant, and again, there's now a commitment that the policing minister is going to work with us ourselves as one of the organisations to look at what we can provide for former officers.
And that is brilliant. We've had our challenges with the police covenant over the years, and we've highlighted them very loudly. But we do hope that it's going to start bringing some actual change. So moving on through your slides, I think we've probably covered all of that. It does offer member services, as you can see on your screen now, the Second Careers Hub, and it does give you a highlighted view there on what they can see on the website, Steve. So that's quite interesting. And I'm guessing the feedback you've had is it's quite easy to navigate around as a site.
Yeah, what we actually did, obviously, we went, it was quite a long project we did this with to get it right, and we had quite a few redrafts of it. And then what we did, obviously, it's been tested by the team, and then obviously I've gone through and tested it, come out and said, well, how does that work for me? I think it's really promising. I think the first week we launched it, we had 3,000 hits on it. So I think there is obviously a need for it. Again, it'd be interesting, anybody who wants to have a look at that and sort of anybody who joins us to have interesting feedback, because again, we're big enough to say things on the chin, and if things we need to change things, well, you don't always quick things.
Yeah.
But it's just, as I say, we've launched it, it's been positive so far, and I think it can be a great help to those people that are not quite sure what the skills are and how to actually market themselves.
And we've said this a million times before, police officers have so many skills that are transferable in so many broad areas. But we've talked about this as well. And it's not even, because some of you may be thinking about going into consulting or going into like independent business type scenario of self-employment. And is there an arm to that in this, or is it more?
I think we also look around that. It's a bit of something for everybody. Some bits are now about starting your own consultancies and bits and pieces. So but again, like you said, things like project management, things like sort of governance. There's lots of options that people don't even think of, which again, this will tease out and just make people think, well, perhaps I have got a lot of opportunities there.
And you know what? police officers can go through their career, however long or short, and possibly only have done two professional interviews, shall we say, with them being the interviewee in their whole careers. So
Yes.
it is so daunting to then think you're going to sit in a modern age interview, which I have to say in real terms, after observing what my husband went through, is bizarre, because we think traditionally you sit in an interview room and you're going to be interviewed by a person. Actually, 9 times out of 10, it's just a Teams chat or it's a call, and that like blows your brain for absolutely
Yeah.
understanding the dynamics of how that works and whether you're going to do successfully and how you're going to say the right things and get the right things out. Completely devoid of any kind of policing interview process, which feels like you go through kicking and screaming to even get promotion. So it's bizarre, isn't it, to think
Yes.
we haven't got the skills in that interview process because we don't know how they work these days. But I'm guessing that's what this will help you with, isn't it?
It is. It's the whole process. I mean, little things. It's like I spent 30 odd years wearing a tie. So for me to come out today with an open, it feels quite modern,
You feel a bit
very
more
European
getting
to me, this does. But I think, again, it's that thing of, it's daft, but it's one of people's concerns. Well, what do I wear for an interview?
Yeah,
If you turn up today, if you've got computer skills from working on computer teams,
yeah,
and you turn up in a 3-piece suit and a tie, well, do you know what? You're probably overdressed in the corporate world.
yes,
And it's,
yeah,
there's advice on that about what to wear for interview, how to handle interviews, how to answer questions, interchangeable skills, cover letters, CVs. All the basics are in there to try and just tease out how do you
Yeah.
move forward and how do you market yourself,
yeah,
and just to make people switched on. So
Yeah.
I think for me, that was one of the biggest things leaving, was how to get a job. And again, on top of that, as I mentioned, we've negotiated with another company, Working Transitions,
yeah,
that will actually provide enhanced coaching, but at a reduced rate for NARPOL members. So again, when you look at what you save on that, you pay for 5 years membership. And again, so it's just,
And you talked as well about, when we spoke earlier, about companies that actually are reaching out to you because they want to have people that have got the skills that police officers are bringing. So it's an absolute marriage for you to be able to suggest people to those companies, because the skills they're looking for, even they recognise that police leaders have. 9 times out of 10, we don't recognise it ourselves,
No, exactly.
but they recognise it in what they need, don't they?
I think I've had a few conversations, like I say, with different organisations and companies who say, well, yeah, we could perhaps get a pipeline of people that come through you and then they get filtered through. And there are lots of avenues that we're currently looking at. But again, it's like the turning a tanker.
Yes.
We're going to do so much so soon.
Yeah.
And it's just getting a feel of what do people want and where do we go.
Yeah. I think that's really easy. Oh, got a question. Oh, here we are. Question from Katrina. Currently in the IHR with Met, do you offer CV writing in this yearly fee? CV writing. So basically, I mean, the first line is blessed of what's going on for her at the minute. But in that skill, in those member services, does it offer CV writing?
It doesn't offer bespoke CV writing as such. At the minute, that's an area we're looking at. And again, when I mentioned to you earlier, we're looking at diversifying our partners.
Yeah.
We're looking at providing extra member services. And again, at this stage, it's looking what the demand is. Currently, we've had a lot of demand for the CV guidance.
Right.
And again, everything on there is in Word format, so it actually formats the CV.
Oh, I see. So
And
what
it's a
you might
template.
have is templates.
Yes.
So what they're saying, Katrina, at the moment is they're not going to write the CV for you, but they're going to give you the templates and the guidance on what to put in it.
And then once you've done that, obviously, should you then wish to enhance that, then that's where the working transition, they will then work this through the CV.
Right.
Because I think the other problem from speaking to people isn't, I'm no expert on this, depending on the role you want to look at will depend these days because of the AI search.
Absolutely.
How you actually pitch that CV. So again, I think the advice was, well, if you get a basic CV, you draft it, it'll then assist you with your interchangeable skills, get a tangible product to then go and get further. It's the initial pain getting a CV written, which costs hundreds of pounds.
Yeah. Oh, well, that makes sense to me, because realistically, it's like you're saying, if you wanted to go off on something and you're looking more of a governance structure job, or if you're going on somebody and it's a project management job, your CV needs to be tailored to that, doesn't it?
Those searches.
That makes sense, because it would go along the role profile or the role description that you're putting it set against to. But at least if there's a basic one, so you know as a PC, I've done X amount of dynamic risk assessments and I've done teams management or whatever it is, it's turning it into that language, isn't it?
Yes, which that
it is the language, and that's what that guidance will do for you.
It'll give you the police skill the corporate skill, and then obviously the template to write that up along with covering letter templates. So you can actually get yourself a product, and then obviously depending on what you want from there, there's the option then to get that.
Yeah.
So
And then the follow-on question, it says, also, do you provide support for people going through the IHR or VES voluntary exit scheme that's going on in the minute in the Met, process in the Met? I suppose in the initial answer, if you're going through it, I'd always advocate for the Met Fed. But of course, do you support them in that as well?
I'm quite happy if Katrina wants to reach out, then maybe I can have a conversation about what we could do.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
lovely. Katrina, hopefully that answers that question for you. Where else? We keep going on the slides with the member services where we're at. Welfare and community. I think we've talked a lot about the welfare and community, haven't we? My fault again, folks, because I've gone off piece with the slides. Advice and campaigning. What's that all about then, Steve?
We tend to do a lot of advocacy work. I don't even know where the widow's pension.
Right, yes.
The widow's pension ongoing.
Yeah.
So
It's a matter, just in short term, it's a matter that's going on for years in regards to payments that we would believe are owed to widows in regards to their pension because of changes in the legislation.
And I think that's different. That's
is that
the
fun?
event.
Oh, okay, sorry, that's my confusion then.
What we're currently have with the widow's pension, obviously, should you be married to a police officer and then they pass away, and then obviously you receive a widow's pension or widow's pension.
Unless
Should you then remarry or cohabit, the government then takes a pension off you. Now, obviously, if you live in Northern Ireland or Scotland, that's not necessarily the case. And certainly because of the military covenant, that's not the case. It's only in England and Wales.
Yeah.
So we've done quite a lot of campaigning. We took it to obviously the courts, and at the minute we've had a couple of drop-ins at Westminster, but quite a lot of cross-party interest, and that's still ongoing because we see that as a total travesty.
It is.
That it's members' money. The argument is, well, it'll cost a fortune. Well, it's not. You're already paying it. All we're asking is don't stop it when somebody cohabits.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we challenged that many years ago, didn't we?
Yes.
And got some moves in the right direction, but then I think the Home Secretary changed roles, didn't they?
Yes.
And it stayed where it was.
We keep pushing that thing. So obviously we'll look at that. And again, we're going to be difficult. It's difficult because it's a member organisation, so we can't act for the interests of individuals. But again, like so, as and when anything comes up that's a bit of national interest, that's where the advice and campaigning comes in.
That's it. And we work closely with you on that. So I've got a couple of hands up. It just tells me attendee Patterson. Do I have a first name, Jen?
Ross.
Is it Ross? Did you say?
Ross.
Yeah. If you can hear us, Ross, if you want to take your mute off and ask your question. Is he with us?
That's through the chat.
There you are. We can hear
Good
you.
morning, everyone.
Morning.
Well, that's good. Okay, thank you. It was just I was trying to cut in for a question on the previous subject of careers job search. I'm wondering whether that applies to long-term permanent adjusted members that would be working from home after leaving the job. Would that be an option?
Yeah, so I mean, for my assessment, straight away, yes. Realistically, like I said, it's almost irrelevant that you're in adjusted duties in terms of the legislation as a police officer. You are then moving into the next workplace with some need of reasonable adjustments because you've got a disability.
Yes.
And under employment law, that would absolutely make sense that you would go through a similar process that you've had to go through in policing, but under employment law, absolutely, as just because you've got a disability doesn't mean that you are then not bringing value to any employer.
Yeah.
And would go through an individual process, probably with their HR department, I'm guessing, on the point of recruitment to explain what it is your needs are and what they can do to reasonably adjust them in the same way as you would in any employer.
I think, and as I said earlier, also, I think to be fair, we work with quite a few organisations, one of whom is obviously Disability Rights UK. So again, they've got a good network, they've got a good advice, and again, we can take that on your behalf, or members' advice, seek advice, and put you in touch with them. So we do welcome to do what we can for anybody, basically.
And I've often found, I don't know if you've seen this, but when you actually look out there in the world of the normal world of employment, it's like a different world, isn't it? You will have many companies that will even articulate that they are a disability, 3 ticks employer, some kind of registration that they've got to say that they absolutely advocate for supporting any individual coming to work for them with any disabilities, etc. So yeah, if I'm honest, I shouldn't probably say this, but I think even better than policing. If I'm honest, in the employment world, it seems to me. I haven't got personal experience from it, but it seems to me that it's, you know, it's an accepted thing that people come with diverse conditions and varying abilities.
I think, like you say, I mean, the amount of companies out there showing disability confidence accreditation.
Yes, that's it.
And again, we've done that as an organisation because I think, like you say, people appreciate, the worth and the experience that people bring.
Exactly.
So yeah, totally.
Exactly. Does that help? I don't know if he's still on. Is he still there? Yes.
Oh, yes, thank you for explaining that. It does. It was just confirming whether NARPO would assist me find a rough example, but it seems to be yes.
Yeah, absolutely, isn't it, Steve? Yeah. Thanks for that. And I think there was another hand up, was there not? Or have we lost Stephen? Stephen, is it? Stephen, you've got a question for Steve.
Hi there, can you hear me okay?
We can.
Hi, Stephen.
Hi there. Yeah. So I was just I'm aware that the military have a resettling money and training programs. And whilst I realise the difference between obviously the police and military, and I think you've alluded to it as well, that there is that cliff edge on leaving the police with nothing in place to reintegrate back into the sort of civilian world. I'm just wondering whether that's ever been looked at all.
It has. Certainly in our challenges back to the police covenant, which they designed supposedly to mirror the Armed Services Covenant, although there is a vast difference in the two, in that the Armed Services Covenant is backed by funding and the Police Covenant doesn't seem to be. But that's one of the main differences. Yes, you're absolutely right. The Armed Services Covenant does resettlement. It will almost pay for retraining over a 12-month period to ensure that you can develop on into a new career. I completely understand that. And we've pushed that massively with policing to say that should be in place in the Police Covenant. We're not there yet, but we do keep trying to push that point.
I think, like you say, moving forward, I think it's on the table and to be looked at. And I think the frustration is, I actually went across for a meeting last year into PSNI. And PSNI, because of the nature of policing in Northern Ireland, they actually do have this. And again, if you're leaving to whatever route, they actually, like you said, they'll retrain you, they'll take you through a trade and do bits and pieces. So I think, like you say, it can be done. I think at the minute it's just who's going to put the hand in the pocket and facilitate it. It's long overdue.
It is long overdue. And as a point of that, that's how we kind of got the College of Policing and Oscar Kilo to start seriously looking at that. And their offer was then to bring out the assistance programmes for interviewing and CV writing, etc. But we want it to go much further. We want it to be exactly as you're saying, Stephen, which is literally that people could be retrained because the marriages are there. You know, there are so many organisations that want police officers to go and work for them.
Yeah.
So why doesn't it make sense that they could be, you know, really explored and supported in a transitional arrangement to be retrained into another organisation?
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me, but, you know.
I think it is being looked at. And again, what certainly from discussions with really, they got quite a lot of work now around retention of police and actually, one, around ex-officers and staff, and two, around a more mature workforce and the benefit that experience brings. I think you're right, Stephen. It is long overdue. I think it is on the table at the minute. It's just as and when, isn't it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I wish I could give you a date on that one, but we keep pushing. And got another question from Mike, I believe.
Yeah, hello there, and everyone. Just a quick question. A lot of officers seem to be retiring and then waiting for their month and going back as civilian officers, civilian staff in the Met. My
Yeah.
question is on speaking to, because I retire, I've got 14 more weeks till I retire. On speaking to officers in the job, it used to be that you would get your full police pension and then you would come back as a police officer and you would get your additional pay. That's gone. And they're telling me that when you retire, you basically, if you go back as a police officer, they freeze your pension and you get your regular monthly wage until such time as you then decide to retire full time and go, and then your pension kicks in again. If you go back after retiring as a police officer as a civilian staff, do you get your full police pension and then get your civilian wage on top of that?
So that's a very detailed question, Mike, let me just say. Yeah, no, not at all. I don't want to answer that for you today in case I get it wrong, because there's some real complexities there in regards to what we seem to see sometimes now is the retire rehire, which is coming back in as a police officer. But then we're also seeing people retire, perhaps early allows retirement or leaving early, and then being offered civilian type roles if there's vacancies in forces. And I think you're alluding to that happening in the Met. But in regards to your pension in that, I would not want to put something publicly on record that I'm not convinced I've got the right answer for. So I might have to park that one for you, Mike, and I will get you in touch with our pension leaders, Paul Turpin and others. And certainly from the Federation perspective, we can help you for that, unless, Steve, you've got anything.
No, I would agree with you, because obviously I think it's one of around taxations and pensions and this and that. I think they're very specific, so I think it's probably better to get the right. I agree with you.
So thanks for raising that, Mike, but make sure we've got your email address, which I think the team are telling me we have, and then I can follow that up after and get you some help and support on that one.
Yeah, if you can get Paul Turpin to give me a call, that would be handy, or email me, and then I'll speak to Paul about it, because I think it's something a lot of officers want to find out about, because it's just it just seems that if you go as an officer and come back, they freeze your pension, and you know, it used to be you used to get both, and now if you come back as a civilian, do you get it? Because otherwise, if you're going to take home say £2,000 a month after tax, and the Met are going to pay you say 3,000, if you can get a job somewhere else for 1,500 quid more, you're better off than not come back to the police.
Exactly. So it certainly needs looking at. Absolutely, Mike. We'll park that one for today if that's all right. We'll get someone to get in touch.
Lovely, thank you.
No problem at all. Is there any other questions from anybody? No? Okay, let's crack on through the slides then. Let's see if there's anything else we haven't covered. So, Jen, if you can keep moving forward. Leisure and offers. I think we've probably touched on these, unless there's anything specific you want to say in regards to that. Your national magazine, as we know, has an awful lot of different resources in it, doesn't it?
Yes.
And do they get that? How often do they get that?
That's quarterly. There's a quarterly magazine that comes out, and then there's also the electronic newsletter comes out every 6 weeks, New Horizons. So again, that'll have inputs, that'll have updates, bits and pieces on there, as well as obviously the NARPOL website. We've even dodged into things like TikTok at the moment. We've done a little bit now. So we've got the social media as well. So we are trying to keep people in touch.
That's awesome. I like that. Love a good TikTok, me. That's brilliant.
I won't say they're good.
Well, you know, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're brilliant. So yeah, tons of leisure opportunities on there. And as I said earlier, my husband got his job off a NARPO advert, so it's always worth looking at, especially if you're looking for new roles. Reference the question about coming back. I have the same query in relation to coming back as police staff. DM an email for Paul Turpin, please. I'm due to. Do you know what? If I was to give out Paul Turpin's email address, he would absolutely shoot me because he gets inundated every day as it is. So what will do though, Christine Cherry, I think that's what it says, is I will pass on your inquiry to him, and people can get in touch. Oh, here we go. Claire's also got another email for me, which is pensions@polfed.org. So if you've got any general questions in regard to pensions that you think you might be able to help you with, it's not just Paul, there's other members in the team too. You can email pensions@polfed.org. So that's come up in the chat bar, and so hopefully you've got that detail too. As we said, £27 odd for the year. That's, you know, it certainly could be quite affordable for people. It's certainly worth a thought. especially if you're thinking about your next step and your next step out of policing, or even you might choose to stay in policing. It still might have some opportunities for you to.
Yeah, I think we think of it, it's a bit like an insurance policy.
Yeah.
You don't know you need it till you need it. And I think that's why we keep it low, we keep it achievable. It's like I said earlier, it's like when you joined on day one and been a cop, and you look at the people with 30 years into leaving that are there for you.
Yeah.
Well, the organisation's here for you, and we're trying to sustain that. So when people want it,
it's there.
But you know what? That 58p a week at the minute helps us achieve that, helps us grow it. And certainly the message today is you don't have to be retired.
Yeah.
You just have to be eligible for a pension,
Yeah.
serving in the UK Police Force. But also that includes staff as well. Staff can join as associate members.
Excellent. So you've heard it from Steve. There's the link, narpo.org. There's a QR code. You can contact them directly. You can find out more on the website. For completed enforcement of some retirement. Do you have any advice dealing with pension companies? I can retire in 6 weeks. I'm provided by my intent to XPS in January. XPS, that can be a challenge. Twice an event payroll, don't seem to be getting anywhere. Frustrating. Yes. It is very frustrating. Nationally, as the Police Federation across England and Wales, we keep raising our frustrations with the limitations at XPS and the delivery on giving people statements, on following through with information. They run on, it's like up to about a 10-week delay on emails. It really isn't a good process at the moment, but no. We're tied because it is XPS, isn't it? It is the only provider that forces are using.
Yeah, it's been an issue. In all fairness, we also have a twice yearly NARPOS pension board.
Yeah.
And XPS as well as NPCC Pension League come to that meeting with us, and I do have quite high links into XPS. Who, in all fairness, if we highlight issues, they are sometimes quite good at getting it resolved for us. So we do have a bit of an inroad.
All famous last words there, Steve.
That's why I'm not giving email, you know, with boys. I think there's a question on there, just about the actors. I think, is it just under there?
Mm-hmm. Do you have that one there?
Yeah, I can't see his name.
Can you join the membership as an officer who leaves after X number of years before completing a full service and retiring? So the answer is yes.
The answer is yes. I think the answer to that is anybody who's eligible for a police don't have to be in receipt of it, don't even have to be paying into it. It's just eligible. So basically, anybody with more than 2 years service that isn't eligible to get the contributions back, who sort of leaves the organisation, they're eligible to join. So people with 3 years, 5 years, 10 years resigning, eligible to join.
And then maybe people on this call, or it may come out through obviously being on our website, etc., that have already left.
Yes.
And not realised.
Can join.
And they can join.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how long they've left. They might be gone off and doing something completely different. They can still join you.
Yes, because at the minute I think there's 156,000 pensions paid every month. So there's quite a lot of people that haven't had the awareness.
Realised that they could join you and get some support and some resource from you.
Yes. That's
a really good point to make. So thank you for that, whoever asked that question, because I can't see the names. Benjamin, thank you so much, Benjamin. That's a really important point to make. Really appreciate that. Have we managed all the questions, have we, Jen? So I can only see the bar going up and down. Have we managed? I don't want to miss any. Sasha, what have we got? Is that Sasha, have you got a question for us?
Hi, yeah, I do. My chat bar doesn't seem to be working. It says that only you can open it for me, so I can't see the chat. And I wondered what that email was that you said was in the chat bar, because I didn't scribble it down and I can't see it, please.
We'll email it to you, because we've got your email. I'm looking at Jen. Have we got our email details? We will, but I think that was in regards to the pension.
It was someone instead of Paul Turpin, that was all.
Yeah. It's the pensions@polfed.org, but it will be emailed to you, so you've got it as well.
Thank you.
You're a star, no problem at all. Well, look at that time, and here's us thought we weren't going to fill our time up. Unbelievable. Look at this.
I've got melody snaps in case.
Listen, everybody, thank you what's this? Does NARPO allow members to join who have lost their job due to disciplinary proceedings? Ultimately, anybody who's been a police officer.
If you've been dismissed or would have been dismissed, then currently
But it's, he's really in a bad place, and we're trying to get him some support, but the force have no duty of care now. We want him to get support. It doesn't suggest Martin lost his job recently due to an incident off duty. Is there some nuances in that, as in how the individuals left? If they've been sacked,
yes, if they've been sacked or if they would have been dismissed under the new regs,
yes,
they went to hear it,
then they can't join then.
They can't join.
But if it's, well, it wouldn't, I suppose realistically, other than that, they'd still be working unless they chose to resign.
Yes, but obviously there are options such as police care would obviously be available, and again, we will signpost towards that.
Right, okay then. So it's a really key point. But in regards to your question, please email us in, because we want to ensure that we get the support for the individual. So there are other organisations we can support them with. So we can get the link to police care. There may even be some support locally from the Federation, depending on which branch we're talking about here. So please email us in regards to that question, because if there's anything else we can offer, we can certainly share all the links. And as a local branch, there may be some other offers of welfare support there. So please do follow that up with us, and we'll get in touch in regards to that question there. And it's scrolled up now, so I can't see who it was, but
It was anonymous.
It was anonymous. Okay, so please do get in touch with us offline, and we can make sure we can get that resource in place for that individual. All right. From that then, Steve, I just want to say thank you so much. This has been so informative. Is there anything else you think we haven't covered?
No, I think I'd just like to thank yourself, Jen. It's been fantastic coming down this morning. But I think more important, I think there's been about 400 or 500 people that have took the time to log on this morning.
Yeah.
So just a big thank you, I suppose, from myself and the organiser for taking time to listen to us. It's been great coming down. Thank you.
And and a big thank you from us. Anything we can do offline to support anybody, any questions they didn't want to put up in the screen and wanted to directly to us, just put them in, email them in to us. Events will make sure that we get those and we can follow up on them. So anyone that needs any support. And just a quick shout out. I know the subscription is full to the Thursdays Adjusted Duties webinar that we're going to do, but it will be recorded. There will be opportunity for you to feed into that after the event, and we're not going to do just the one. It's going to be a series of them. So if any of that is of interest to anybody on this group chat, specifically around adjusted duties, they're going to carry on. So hopefully you'll get in if you haven't managed to get in on Thursdays. But it's been lovely to have you all. Thank you so much again for your support in this. Oh, and before we go, Claire and Jen would kill me if I forgot this. Share your thoughts, please. Just go on that QR code and give us some feedback, because we really enjoy doing these webinars, but we want to do them the right way for you. So we can only do that on the feedback we get from you. So please, 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 please take a couple of minutes at your time and give us some feedback so that we know we're doing the right thing and we can change it to do them differently if we're not. So with that, I hope you've had a great time. Well, a great time, an informative time, she says. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Take care, everybody.